Give us a take on why so many maritime workers are still unvaccinated. Aren't they considered frontliners?
You know, that's the exact same question that the shipping industry is asking of governments around the world. There are about 1.6 million seafarers globally, and you know the International Chamber of Shipping, which represents the industry, says that only 2.5% of them are vaccinated at this point. That's a huge problem, you know, considering that these men and women are the ones that we depend on to get our packages, you know, from ports into China to our very doorsteps. And so the industry is warning that unless governments, you know, other governments around the world step in to basically help vaccinate every single seafarer who comes into their ports, regardless of nationality, things are only going to get worse. And, you know, that's a real sticking point because most of these seafarers come from developing nations, places like India, places like, you know, the Philippines and Indonesia, where these governments are having trouble getting enough vaccines to vaccinate their own citizens. So more help is really needed. Because otherwise we're going to see more seafarers get sick, and they, of course, risk disrupting international trade flows.
Well, that's just it, isn't it, Juan? I mean, this is how you create more chaos in an industry which is really feeling it.
Exactly, Rish. I mean, you know, we've already seen clogs at ports because of COVID vaccinations. I mean, because of COVID infections. Yantian Port, for example, in southern China, you know, that caused weeks of delays that are now just being worked through. We've also seen just an increase in the numbers of seafarers getting sick on ships. And what's different now is that when these seafarers get sick, it's not just them. It's often they take out the whole crew, you know, because these infections with the Delta variants have been so contagious. So you've got basically ships on the sea that are basically in quarantine mode. They can't, you know, operate. And of course, all that is happening at a time of peak demand because the shopping season is now in full swing, right all the way up until Christmas. So unless things change, unless these vaccinations happen, there's a good chance that those Christmas presents may not be lining the shelves of stores.